Hello, today we're at Regents International School. Actually, we're here to attend a press conference where the world famous activist Rick O'Barry will be speaking. Now, Rick O'Barry, for those of you who don't know, is the man who captured and trained Flipper all those years ago on TV. Remember all those lovely TV programs? Actually, there was 5 flippers used to make the TV show. But Rick had a change of heart because he realised although he was giving entertainment to thousands, well, if not millions of people, he was actually endangering the dolphins. And one of the flippers, named Kathy, actually died in his arms in what he terms as suicide. Basically, she voluntarily decided to stop breathing. It's a sad story, but it's one that changed Rick's life. And then, of course, he decided that he would actually start to help the dolphins by trying to educate people about oceanariums and dolphinariums and actually how buying that ticket can actually endanger them because, of course, it's not their natural environment. Many years later, in fact, just about 5-6 years ago, he was involved in a groundbreaking movie, well, actually a documentary called The Cove. Let's have a quick look at the movie.
But I do want to say that we try to do the story legally.
There it is. A little town with a really big secret. It's so bizarre what's going on over here.
When we first got in the country, we had no idea who was following us.
You think they know we're here?
We didn't know if it was the whalers, the Japanese mafia.
Somebody's behind me. I don't know who that is.
They don't like me. They don't like my message.
Rick is world famous for his work with dolphins.
I feel somewhat responsible because it was the Flipper TV series that created this multi-billion-dollar industry.
The dolphin smile is nature's greatest deception. It creates the illusion they're always happy. You realize after a while they don't really belong in captivity.
I'd never seen so many dolphins before.
The Japanese people don't even know about it.
They take the boats around to the secret cove that nobody could see.
They're afraid of cameras. They said if the world finds out what goes on here, we'll be shut down.
They were hiding something.
We need to get in there and film exactly what happens. We need to know the truth.
We needed people with a special set of skills to implement this mission.
They're behind me.
Let's go, let's go.
Good luck.
Underwater camera is set.
They're not being told that the free lunch meat that their children are getting are contaminated.
Let it not be said that you didn't know about it. You know about it.
If we can't fix that, there's no hope.
Okay, there's a flashlight. The guards are moving. Guards are moving.
Get out of there. Get out of there now.
This is a movie that has now actually, it's just encouraged millions of people. They've got thousands of followers, thousands of people who've taken up the torch that Rick actually lit with this movie by educating people, which of course brings us back to education and brings us here to the Regents International School. Later today they will be showing the Cove to the students and there'll be a Q&A session with Rick. So let's go in and see what it's all about. Okay, now joining me is the man himself, a man who's spent the last nearly 50 years with dolphins, started off helping them, and now you're helping them in another way. This is, you say that you've came full circle, Rick. For those who have seen the Cove, and I'm sure there are many of our viewers who have, what's the situation now in Tai Chi? I believe you've just been there.
Well, they're still killing dolphins, unfortunately, and they're still capturing them for these dolphin circuses. And the captures are the economic underpinning of the dolphin slaughter. So we're trying to stop these captures. They get about $150,000 for a live show dolphin. Mm-hmm. A dead dolphin is worth about $500. So it's easy to see that capturing them, it keeps this slaughter going.
So, I mean, you've came here with, with a wealth of information today, but to bring us up to speed now, one of your missions is to tell people and to highlight to them that when they visit these dolphinariums and these shows, as a circus, I believe you just called it a minute ago, that they are actually perpetuating the whole situation.
Right. It's based on supply and demand, like any other product. And as long as you're buying tickets for the dolphin show, the dolphins are dying to amuse you, the consumer. So the consumers have to step up and solve this problem. Government's not going to do it.
Okay, all right. But your movie, I mean, you've now generated thousands of activists or followers.
Yeah.
So is that helping to change things?
Yeah, I think it has. It's probably the most important thing. People are getting involved in this issue, and they're starting to think twice before they buy a ticket. And we're seeing a decline in attendance worldwide in these dolphin amusement parks.
Okay. Did you just say abusement?
I did. You caught that.
That's very good, very good. Okay, so why are you here in Pattaya?
I'm here to support the effort by Nancy Gibson and Love Wildlife. She's launched a campaign to educate the public in hope that they will stop buying tickets. So we're here to support that.
Okay, because in Pattaya there's actually two places where people could go to these abusement parks, as you call them. Now, this could get slightly political, but it was in the press conference they said that the dolphins, for at least one of these parks, they said that, or they claim that the dolphins had been captured by mistake almost, or they've been rescued or something.
That's what they say, and let's give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that they were caught accidentally. Mm-hmm. And the park is rehabilitating the dolphins. Well, when are they going to put them back in the ocean to join their family?
Okay, so that's you giving them the benefit of the doubt, but with your benefit of decades of experience, what would you say?
I would say they were caught deliberately. Yeah.
Because a live dolphin would actually be put back in, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they can be put right back. You know, they get tangled in the net, you take them out to deeper water and you let them go. But these are dolphins with jobs now.
Sure.
For the rest of their life, they have to perform for their food. It's the only animal in the zoo that has to do tricks in order to be fed. This is the card. It's going to the. Who's that addressed to? Can you read that?
No, I can't read that entire.
It's to the government.
Yeah. Okay.
It's asking them to ban further dolphin shows. And whoever signs it is taking the pledge not to buy a ticket for a dolphin show.
Okay, so it's really now a case of people getting behind this in Thailand as well, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all about Thailand. Yeah, and so we're going to print out thousands of these and get them around to people and hope we'll have a good response.
Okay. Well, it does seem that, you know, from the movie, I mean, it's a couple of years now, but the legacy, I think, will live on. I mean, you mentioned there in the press release that it's now received the most awards. It's in the Guinness Book of Records for the most awards for a documentary, which is phenomenal.
It won over 70, including the Academy Award. Wow. So it'll be around forever, this movie.
Well, you must be very proud.
I am, yeah.
You're making a big difference.
Thank you.
Well, listen, thank you very much, Rick. I know you've got lots to do. And hopefully we're going to speak to some of the other people here at the Regents School. Thanks very much. Okay, now joining me is Mark Berman. We'll speak to Mark in a moment. And also Nancy Gibson. Nancy, when we were speaking to Rick there, he mentioned that he's really here in Thailand to support you. So tell our viewers, rather, what it is that you do and what you represent.
I represent Love Wildlife Foundation, and we work on different zoo issues, not just zoo issues, but animal issues here in Thailand, mainly education. But I've partnered up with Earth Island Institute here because there's a big issue here in Thailand that's starting to come out, and we're trying to stop that. We've also been working with another organization, which is Wildlife Friends of Thailand, which have also done a lot of work on finding out where these, how many dolphins there are and things like that as well.
Okay. And is your work primarily with dolphins and creatures like that, or with the other zoos as well?
We work with all animal issues actually, but we actually work with the Thai government and the Zoological Park organization on different zoo issues. But mainly different animals all kinds of animals, all kinds of issues. But my main focus is education, is educating people about what's happening.
That must be a tricky thing. I mean, I appreciate you're working with the government, but because a lot of these businesses, I mean, they're really commercial enterprises. Is it not easier for there to be a media blackout?
Yes and no, but I think partially we take in mind that these are businesses, and when we talk about taking one thing away, we always try to talk about what we can do as an alternative. So we're not taking away their full revenue. It's just that there are other things and other alternatives that they can do that would make maybe even more than what they can do now.
Okay. Well, as we've been speaking, Nancy's website's been on the screen. Mark, if I could just grab a quick moment with you. I was amazed by the statistic that you said that Thailand is the greatest exporter of tuna in the world. Is that correct? Is that what you meant?
They're the largest canned tuna exporter in the world.
Okay.
The single largest country that does the canned tuna business.
Okay. And then how is this related to dolphins?
Well, the Thailand canneries have signed pledges with Earth Island Institute 18 years ago to be dolphin safe.
Okay.
From Thai Union, the largest, all the way down to smaller ones such as SPA. They committed to work with us, and they're still working with us in a very positive way to make sure that dolphin-safe tuna is exported out of this country, because it's the law in most of EU and, of course, the USA that tuna must be dolphin-safe, which means no dolphins are netted or captured in the process of getting tuna. Well, a blemish on this could be if Thailand becomes a trafficker in live dolphins for these places like Pattaya Dolphin World, Sanctuary of Truth, Oasis Sea World, Safari World. These places are not what should be for dolphins, okay? The situation is, you call Thailand the land of smiles, it's a beautiful country, but the dolphins are not smiling in these tanks. They're suffering. They don't belong there. Most of these dolphins were captured illegally as bycatch for some kind of fishing operation. That's the claim, which is not true. If the dolphins survive getting into a net, the fishermen are supposed to release them immediately back to where they were, not drag them into some tank over here, which is what these facilities are claiming. They're rescued dolphins. They're not rescued at all. They're illegally caught dolphins. They should be released back to the wild, and that's the bottom line. The trafficking.
Yeah, it's trafficking. But so what you're saying is that the way to, or a way to address this is by lobbying, if you like, with the tuna companies to say that this problem has to go away. Otherwise, it's going to threaten your business. It's going to threaten this huge export market. Is that correct?
That's correct. I mean, we wrote a press release on this so that the government realizes the fact that a multi-billion-dollar business could have a blemish if this other business takes off. And we see it starting to take off by this brand new facility here in Pattaya. They claim they got these dolphins from rescued operations and fishing, which is not true from our findings with WFFT. And also, the fact is, you have one here, they're going to put one somewhere else. And where are they going to collect these dolphins from? They're going to capture them. Dolphins do not breed sustainably, it's a fact, in captivity. The death rate of dolphins is very high mortality. They average about 8 years in captivity. In the wild, they live to be 50, easily. So the issue here is to find an alternative. There's no need to have these dolphins tortured for human entertainment. They're just nothing more than circus clowns for money. So the Thai tuna industry has already told the fisheries department they want this headache to disappear. They don't want it to expand. They've already sent letters on our behalf, and we're very appreciative of that.
Okay. Now, Rick was saying about this this postcard that we can send, which I believe goes to the Thai government, which basically is a pledge, and that people will support these campaigns. That's a start, isn't it? But the other thing, of course, is it goes back to what Rick said. For the people who are thinking about going to these things, the message that you would give is don't buy a ticket.
Absolutely, you do not buy a ticket. You buy a ticket, you're supporting the torture of these dolphins, just like you see in the movie The Cove.
Yeah.
So if you want to stop it, you don't support it financially. If they don't make money, The profit goes away. There's no need to have the dolphins. So as more people get awakened to the fact that this species is intelligent, they're family-oriented, and they belong in one place, which is their own realm of reality, which is the ocean, without being harmed by humans.
Yeah.
Dolphins do not need humans.
Sure.
And humans only have them for one reason, and that's to make a profit.
Money. Yeah. And you know, the reality is that I picked up on your in the press release there that you happen to really like Thailand. You love Thailand. You've been coming here for years, and the reality is that there's plenty of other things to see in Thailand. We don't really need it, do we?
No, you could go on a boat
Yeah.
in Phuket, and you see wild dolphins all the time.
Sure.
There was a plan to have a dolphin park there, and we were able to pretty much stop it because of the same effect of this issue where these investors that wanted to put this thing in backed out. They said they don't need the headache. They don't want to put their money in something that's going to lose in the end. So that one seems to have gone away. We're also concerned about rumors about other types of marine mammals being brought into this country, such as orca. And that's probably what it is a rumor. But that's something that needs to be addressed as well. So the trade must end.
The trade must end. And there's a thing which is touched on in the movie, and again the students had it today with the dolphin with a sign saying, "No, I'm not smiling," and that's it, isn't it? The dolphins aren't happy in those kind of environments, so they need to be kept out of them, kept in their natural environments. Nancy, is there anything else you would like to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that this campaign itself is an effort not just by Love Wildlife, but students, not just students here at Regents, but also all the artwork and everything was done by students, university students that have become passionate about this topic. And so the idea is that we want the Thai government and the facilities to know that once we educate what is the issues about these dolphins, that people won't support it, and not necessarily aggressively, but just so that they know that this is the view of the public, and we will not support dolphinariums, we will not support places that have dolphins or whales, or tour companies that decide to promote them as well.
Okay. Well, there you go. It's all about education, and we're going to speak to a couple of the people from Regents International School to see why they're doing this and why they've got on board with something that is a bit of a controversial matter, or is it? Because the Cove, of course, blew everything open, and it's got the whole world talking. Stay tuned. Okay, now joining me is the principal of Regents International School, Mike Walton, who we'll speak to in just a moment, and of course the chairman and founder, Dr. Vidichai. Dr. Vidichai, Sawasdee Krap, how are you?
Sawasdee Krap, thank you, very good.
Good.
Indeed.
Dr. Vidichai, this must be quite something today, having this very famous activist coming to Pattaya and choosing your school. Why did this, how did it come about?
I think Regent School has been known to be a school of a home of future well-rounded leaders. I mean, to be well-rounded leaders, you need not only the technical knowledge up here, but you also need to have good moral values in your heart, and a social skill, the skill that would allow you to be able to interact with people, with nature, including animals around you. Okay. So I think this is the right place for anyone who have passion about this sort of environmental issue, to come, because our students have big heart, to learn from them, sure, and to pass on to their parents and pass on to their friends in society. So this is basically why they. I think they chose us, or we chose them. Okay. I think it's a...
Well, I know that you're doing a screening of The Cove tonight, and I also know that it's a movie. Actually, I rewatched it again in preparation for today's interview, and it's a movie that really gets you. It really... I'm not particularly an animal lover, but I guess it educates you. Yeah. What did you learn from what Rick O'Barry was saying today?
Well, Rick said that he spent first 10 years torturing the animal. When he said torturing, it means he's the one that captured Kathy, the flipper, and he actually lived with her for 7 years until the moment that she actually just suffocated to death.
Voluntarily.
Voluntarily, so like a committing suicide sort of act. So for 10 years, I think that basically turned him around. And it took him, or has taken him, or let's say took him 40 years to rewind, what he has actually done, to undo, to the animal. And he said during the press conference that the creation of this movie is actually put an end to his formal campaign, which he believed that was successful, but took him 40 years. And at the end, of course, there are more than 1,000 people supporting him and doing the same thing like he did.
So the legacy lives on, and these people will take over the mantle, if you like, and continue his work in other ways.
Yes, absolutely. I think that there got to be some people like this to really educate us. Some of us take it for granted that dolphin, wow, look at them, they are happy. They have fish every 5 seconds. Sure. When they come up, they get a small fish. So pretty well fed. People might look at it and misconceive altogether. Sure. So he actually shed light on that particular issue, that they actually, after the show, this dolphin are put in a concrete box. And as you know, this animal is what you call sound-oriented. So a little noise tap on the box is actually just like thunder to the animal.
Yeah, it reverberates and goes round.
Wow, that's really, when you picture that, it's really a sad story to hear, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. If you bear with us, Dr. Villachai, Mike, what have you got out of this experience?
Well, I've watched the film. It's a very powerful film. But obviously, we're a school. Our business is education. We've got 1,000 students here. And so our business is really connecting with people like Rick O'Barry and using him to open our children's minds to some of the big issues of the world today. So really, I see this from an educationist point of view, that somebody like this and a message like this can inform and inspire and empower our students.
Okay. Now, I know that yesterday a group of your students, Year 12, which is the 16-year-olds, they were on a field trip to Kolan, and when they came back, they watched the cove. And they watched it in Kolan?
No, we have an outdoor education centre on Got Chang.
Oh, sorry.
And our Year 12 students have been down there for a week. We've got about 75 in Year 12. I was down there with them last night, and they've been working on various things over the week, but last night we showed them the cove, and it was very interesting afterwards when we asked them to discuss and share their thoughts on what they'd seen. That was an excellent educational process.
And what came out of that? What were the points you think that it hit them?
Okay, the first was the first and most immediate is probably the sense of there's an injustice going on here, whether it's a social or an environmental injustice. Most of our students felt very strongly they wanted to support the kind of work that Rick O'Barry does. After that came some perhaps more reflection that, at the end of the day, this is a film, and we teach our students to question any information that's presented to them. And so some of them started thinking, well, wait a minute, what are some of the other what's some of the other point of view? What are some of the other arguments? How do other people see this? So that was very interesting, seeing that they had the maturity to see that there's always two sides to any issue. And then thirdly, we have a very international group of students. We must have had, among that 75, there must be 25 or more nationalities. They come from all over the world. And some of them started saying, well, wait a minute, this is all about how we treat dolphins, and this particular video is set in Japan. But some of them started saying, well, wait a minute, do we treat animals in our own countries any better? What sort of, we ask them to be reflective, if you like, look in the mirror and say, okay, what ideas does this provoke in our own minds? So very interesting.
And what do you think it's kind of a hard one to answer, but what do you think their response would be to the local facilities that use dolphins?
Well, I think that most of them would feel, especially having watched the Cove, that the rights of the animal and, if you like, the ethical issues would make them feel very uncomfortable about that sort of thing. But as ever, they will come back. They will discuss it with their teachers amongst themselves. We don't want them making up their mind in 5 minutes.
Okay.
We want them to reflect and think about.
Okay. So maybe they won't not buy a ticket, but maybe they'll think about it before they buy a ticket.
I suspect most of them won't buy a ticket.
Okay.
I think very few would.
Okay. Mike, if you could stay with us. Dr. Virachai, perhaps we could just briefly tell our Thai viewers in Thai roughly what's been going on today here at Regents, why you've joined up with Rick O'Barry, and I guess a way of encapsulating his message to our viewers in Thai, please.
โรงเรียน Regent School นี่ค่อนข้างที่จะเน้นความสำคัญของความพอดีสมดุลระหว่างสติปัญญาและก็คุณธรรมนะจากจุดนี้นะครับครูของเราเนี่ยก็จะมีความมุ่งมั่นในการที่จะให้ความรู้กับนักเรียนในด้านการที่จะมีคุณธรรมที่ดีขึ้นแล้วก็มีจิตสำนึกอะไรต่างๆมีเพียงแต่ดูแลตนเองแต่ว่าต้องดูแลเพื่อนๆที่อยู่ในสังคมเดียวกันและขณะเดียวกันอาจจะต้องดูแลสิ่งแวดล้อมสิ่งแวดล้อมนี่ก็อาจจะเป็นธรรมชาติทั่วไปต้นไม้ลำธารแม่น้ำและที่สำคัญคือสัตว์อย่างเช่นมิสเตอร์ริกโอเบอรี่คนนี้ก็เป็นคนที่มีความรู้มากเหลือเกินเกี่ยวกับเรื่องของปลาโลมาที่ถูกจำจองที่ถูกเอามาจากทะเลแล้วก็ถูกกักขังอยู่ในกล่องถังคอนกรีตเล็กๆแล้วทุกครั้งเนี่ยที่เท่าที่ริกเล่าให้ฟังนะครับเวลาจับเข้ามาอยู่ในสถานที่ฝึกอบรมเนี่ยก็จะปล่อยให้หิวนะครับเพราะว่าปลานี่ต้องการจะกินนะก็จะเหมือนกับว่าบังคับให้ทำนู่นทำนี่เนี่ยซึ่งเรามองดูเราผิวเผินเรามองดูก็มีความสุขดีแต่ว่าจริงๆปลาเนี่ยเขาทำไปเพราะว่าเพื่อความอยู่รอด10 ปีแรกที่เขาใช้ชีวิตในการไปจับปลาโลมาจากทะเลมาแล้วก็มาฝึกมาสอนแล้วก็บังคับให้ทำนู่นทำนี่ทุกอย่างเนี่ยเขาทำไปเพราะว่าความรู้เท่าไม่ถึงการเขาก็มีความรู้สึกว่าเวลาใครเขาถามเกี่ยวเรื่องสภาพการเป็นอยู่ของปลาโลมาเป็นยังไงเนี่ยเขามักจะต้องโกหกนะแล้วก็มีความรู้สึกว่าชีวิตเขาเนี่ยมันเป็นการโกหกตลอดเวลาแล้วก็จุดที่ทำให้เขาเนี่ยเปลี่ยนตลปัดก็คือตอนที่ปลาโลมาตัวที่เป็นนางเอกของหนังเรื่องฟลิปเปอร์นะฮะที่ชื่อว่าแคทตี้เนี่ยที่ตายคือแคทตี้นี่เขาจับมากับมือนะฮะจากทะเลตามที่เขาเล่าให้ฟังแล้วก็เขาเป็นคนที่ฝึกฝนมากับมือแล้วอยู่ด้วยกัน7 ปีแล้วก็แคทที่มีความเซ็งมากที่สุดก็ตรอมใจตายก็เหมือนกับการเขาเรียกว่าฆ่าตัวเองตายโดยที่กลั้นหายใจแล้วก็อดไม่มีออกซิเจนเขาเองนะฮะริกโอแฮร์รี่ตะกี้ที่เขาได้พูดเนี่ยเขาได้พูดอยู่คำหนึ่งซึ่งน่าฟังมากว่าชีวิตเขาเนี่ยการทดแทน40 ปีในการที่จะอันดูหรือว่าในการที่จะเปลี่ยนให้คนเกิดความเข้าใจจริงๆเป็นเรื่องที่เขาก่อขึ้นเมื่อ50 ปีที่แล้วเนื่องจากหนังเรื่องฟลิปเปอร์เนี่ยเป็นหนังที่ผู้คนดูกันมากและชอบมากเนี่ยก็เลยทำให้คนเนี่ยอยากจะเห็นปลาเหมือนฟลิปเปอร์มันก็เลยเป็นสาเหตุให้สวนสนุกที่นู่นที่นี่อะไรต่างเนี่ยก็มีการโชว์เรื่องปลาโลมานี้ขึ้นมาแล้วก็เขาเนี่ยมีความรู้สึกเขาเนี่ยเป็นสาเหตุที่ทำให้ปลาโลมาเนี่ยแทนที่จะอยู่ในทะเลต้องถูกจับขึ้นมาแล้วก็มาอยู่ในที่คุมขังแล้วลักษณะนี้เขามีความรู้สึกว่าภาษาอังกฤษเขาเรียกว่า guilty มากเพราะฉะนั้นเขาชีวิตเขาต้องทุ่มเทในการที่จะอันดูหรือว่าในการที่จะลื้อฟื้นกลับไปเป็นการใช้โทษบาปที่เขามีแล้วหนังเรื่องนี้ The Cove เนี่ยเขาบอกว่าเขาได้ทำแล้วนะเขามีความรู้สึกว่าประชากรทั่วโลกต่างๆมีความรู้สึกแล้วว่านี่แหละคือสิ่งที่มนุษย์เนี่ยได้ทำกับสัตว์ที่น่ารักที่มีชื่อว่าปลาโลมาคือมันเป็นเรื่องของการให้นักเรียนเนี่ยซึ่งต่อไปจะเป็นผู้นำของสังคมเนี่ยให้เกิดความเข้าใจว่าอะไรเนี่ยเป็นสิ่งที่พอดีอะไรเป็นสิ่งที่ดีแล้วก็ตัวเขาเองแล้วก็ต่อสิ่งแวดล้อมแล้วก็ต่อสัตว์โลกอื่นๆ
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Virachai. So there you go. Yeah, even from the little that I can understand about Thai, you can see how this press conference and having Rick O'Barry has actually touched the hearts of these gentlemen, these wonderful educationalists, Mark and of course Dr. Virachai. This is Paul for PMTV. Check out the movie, have a look at it, because this is a movie that will touch your heart and it'll get you thinking about it. What am I going to do today? Am I going to buy a ticket? Actually, it's not just the dolphinariums, it's all the zoos and everything. It makes you think. It really, really does. Get the movie, check it out, and think twice. See you again. Bye-bye.